Scheduled regular public meeting of April 30th, 2024 of the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers on April 9th, 2024, and this meeting has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board, Electronic Message Board, WCTV, and on the Township website. Please notify the Municipal Clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones. Could everyone please stand for a salute to the flag? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Here.
Councilman Sears.
Here.
Councilman Ullman. Councilwoman Velez.
Here.
Council President DeSena.
Here. Let the record reflect also in attendance Mayor Peter Calamari, Township Administrator Mr. DiCarlo, Township Attorney Mr. Poller, CMFO John Corcoran, and Township Clerk Mrs. Witkowski. Payment of bills. Resolution number 24-214, authorized payment of bills March 29, 2024 to April 22, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman. Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. PSA for April 30th, 2024. On Thursday, May 16th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., the Motor Vehicle Commission Mobile Unit and the Mobile Inspection Team will be at the Bethany Community Center at 605 Pascack Road to offer registration for Real ID, driver license, renewals and changes, license plate surrenders, non-driver ID cards, registration renewal or duplicates, placards, applications to apply for an exam permit, and vehicle inspections. Please visit our website for further information. The Township of Washington has launched a Hometown Heroes banner program as a living tribute for our community to honor past and present members of the armed forces. Please visit our website for further information. All owners' names of non-registered dogs have been forwarded to the Township Animal Control Officer. PSE&G is replacing existing electric meters with new smart meters throughout the town. Please visit our website for further information. Late night primary election voter registration will take place May 14, 2024 at the Township Clerk's office, second floor, and will be open until 9 p.m. The next council meeting will be held on Monday, May 6th at 7 p.m. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, you have a proclamation for the 2024 Arbor Day celebration?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to read the following proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are renewable resources giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Peter Calamari, Mayor of the Township of Washington, do hereby proclaim April 22nd, 2024 as Arbor Day, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to further support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote well-being of this and future generations. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No approval of minutes tonight. Administration follow-up report. Mr. Buno from OLD Associates is here. You want to take a seat here or you want to stand at the podium, whichever is easier. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'll go first
Mayor.
if you don't mind, Mr. Buno. I'll set you up. Sorry. I'll go first if you don't mind. I'll set you up.
It's going to set you up again.
I'll set you up. Fair thing.
It didn't tell me it was setting you up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
You might want to sit down for a setup.
Thank you, Council President DeSena. Good evening, everyone. I had one follow-up from our last budget meeting, and then a few updates that are outside of the project tracker later on during the conference agenda. Last budget meeting, the council had requested me to determine why the Bergen County GIF Safety Incentive Program accumulated $10,719 without being used. As a recap, the money originated from a stipend, for lack of better terms, from Bergen County GIF. The allotments each year vary. And then I indicated when I sent the council, please see the attached email. Just gives you a history of the stipends and the allotments going all the way back to 2007. Some years there wasn't an award. Some years it was $1,500, $200, all the way up till 2023. I looked into this prior to the budget meeting, as you can see by the date on the email, because I was inquisitive also as to why we were receiving that money. What I can't answer is who was responsible for not making the determination of available funds sooner. But I also included the last 3 years of the annual financial statement, 21, 22, 23. The funds are listed in the unappropriated reserve portion of the grant, appropriately by our financial advisor from LSV. So the first time that actually we received the money, even though we were given allotments in those years, we received $8,219 in 2021. 2022, we received $750. 2023, we received $1,750. And as I advised during the budget meetings, that's when I located the money and its availability to use to offset our police accreditation line. That is the background for that. Just to catch you up on a few township projects. I'm very happy to say that we completed the enrollment of our employees for the difference card. That deadline was April 30th. I really appreciate our members, our unions, and especially Joy Apar, who's our benefits coordinator. It was a lot of work. We did a lot of scrambling towards the last week. So I'm happy to tell the council that we were able to do that with an effective date of July 1st. Also advising the council and the community that we are up to date and in compliance with all of our stormwater general permitting, which includes our stormwater MS4 mapping, which has been placed on our website, as well as submission of our annual report. The commuter lot, if you haven't driven by there, it looks great. The lot was paved last week. The landscaping is done. They also did the line striping, and the only thing left is the fence installation, which began today and should complete tomorrow. The PSE&G roads that they came back to pave, they have completed the paving, and I just have to check if they finished all the striping. Once they have a final list of what they completed in the linear feet, I'll pass that on to the community and the council. Calvin Street, just waiting for the finish up from Beckmeyer Engineering so we can go out to bid on that. Sunset and Clark was paved today. The mayor and I want to especially acknowledge and appreciate the fact that the residents on Clark and Kennedy were inconvenienced today with not being able to really get out of the road and having to make arrangements. So we appreciate that. But that should have been completed today. Sunset and Clark, and that completes our 23 road program is for the paving of the streets. We had indicated that we were looking to try and find a company that would be able to spread the mulch in our 3 playgrounds sooner than the end of May. Happy to say that we were able to do that and save a significant amount of money by finding another company to do it. So that's taking place today and tomorrow. Also, that vehicle that we've been without use, we found out yesterday that they're now telling us no later than the end of May. It's very frustrating, but we keep getting pushed along. As I informed the council, once we finally get it back, I will, going back to them to see how we'll be compensated for it. Heads up for the next meeting on May 6th, you'll be receiving a change order, which is a final reconciliation for the work done on Salem Road to the sanitary lines. It is a reduction of $11,000. So I'm happy to report that to the council. And finally, it's almost your turn, Mr. Buno. I want to thank Mr. Buno, the mayor, and I want to thank him for being here tonight to give us and the council an update on some grants that are going on. As we know, we alerted the council during budget capital discussions of a $700,000 necessary project to repair the critical sanitary issues along the Musqueam Brook. The council, of course, reasonably asked us to look into grants. I was very pleased, the mayor and I, because Councilwoman Velez found one, brought it to our attention. We immediately got Mr. Buono on it. He filed it, and I believe there's a resolution tonight, so I don't want to steal your thunder. If you could just update the council on all those measures. Thank you. Council President DeSana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, council members,
Good evening, Mr. Bino.
Councilwoman Velez for pointing this out to us. It's a very important application. We had tried to do this last year without success, but it was a different type of project and different amount of money. This year, we're looking for $699,095 based upon the last estimate given to us by Boswell Engineering for the swap sink, I hope I got that right, Brook project. It also ties into the Clean Water Act under the United States EPA because that brook flows into a reservoir. In any event, it's a very involved project and process with respect to getting this before the House of Representatives on the next, it will be FY 2025 budget. It's, even though we're submitting it now, it'll be for the 2025 budget. So in any event, last year we had tried for about 1.2 million, but were unsuccessful. However, in addition to this application, because I don't like to put all my irons in one fire, there's a second way we can get money for this, and it might even come in sooner, and that's through the State Senator Shapezi. We can do what they call a state budget resolution request. She has sent an email to the mayor, which I responded to, and we're drafting a similar request to what we're doing on the federal appropriation through the state budget resolution process. So I like to think we're going to get it one. If we don't get it from one, we'll get it for the other, or we can combine it. The other
We
thing.
go after NJDOT discretionary aid for this?
I'm sorry, what?
NJDOT discretionary aid for this?
I'm sorry, sir.
Could we go after a discretionary aid grant for this, Mr. Bino?
This is more, for want of a better term, this is the old Christmas tree process, which I think we might have a better shot at this point.
Okay, that's fine.
That's pretty much it. We should hear something. Right now, they're still under a continuing budget resolution. There'll be no real action taken on this until the official budget for the year is adopted. So, but we are in the mix. They've acknowledged it, and hopefully we'll get some attention and get some money either through this or through the state budget process.
Thank you, Mr. Bino. Any questions for Mr. Bino?
What was the, because I can't recall right now, maybe you know, the date that we potentially, if we were approved, because I know it was only 15 municipalities that would be granted.
I'm sorry,
It would be only 15 municipalities that would be granted this
yes, what
grant
happens is
under Gottheimer.
every municipality in his congressional district is eligible to apply. He will select 15 municipalities that he'll recommend for funding. That's one reason probably we didn't get it last year, but we keep trying. I think we'll hit at some point, and I think we have a good application. The amount that we're requesting is a lot more reasonable, and we provided a lot more detail than we did last year. So I'm confident at least we'll get some type of action on it. But again, I'm hedging our bet by going with the state budget resolution, which I think will have an even better shot. And the other thing, if we do get both, we have ability under the state budget to do reallocation. Once the money is awarded under the federal process, it's actually put into law, and you can't reallocate it. But we have the ability to reallocate it. We also get the state money.
Okay. If council agrees, maybe we can reach out to Gottheimer's
That's what I was going to
office.
ask. I was going to ask if the
To-
mayor could reach out and set up a meeting with Mr. Gottheimer maybe and see if we can meet
Because
with him.
this is a safety,
Yeah, because this is a sanitary, we have
Correct.
exposed sanitary mains that could cause a devastating effect to our township, so. maybe
now,
we
on
could-
the deadline
Also
wasn't,
downline from us.
yeah,
Yeah, no, we go right into the reservoir, all the sewage, so that's why maybe we could have a meeting with him to express our concerns and if he could
or
really,
at the very least, we can draft a united letter
Yeah.
to his office stating how important this is for our community as a whole from a safety
Well, I
concern.
would think more than the community, I would take basically Bergen County,
Yeah, 'cause it's-
south of
because
us.
It
Yes.
feeds into the Oradell
Yeah.
Reservoir at the end of the day, so it's a,
Now, Mr. Buno, since the deadline was on the 26th, right, that was just this Friday?
Yes.
When would we anticipate that, did they go into detail when they'll anticipate reviewing it so that when we address
Typically,
them?
They'll be reviewing it soon. That's why I strongly recommend reaching out to him now and maybe getting a meeting. And
Okay,
I would have to go with you with the engineer and whatever and articulate our position, and how much we need this. And the fact that I discovered this actually through doing some research on it, that through Rutgers University, they did a complete study on this brook and how it feeds into a reservoir. It's not only a question then of stormwater management, it's clean water for a reservoir, for a water supply that serves over 800,000 people.
correct.
So,
so maybe we can all put our heads together and, you know, send some encouragement.
what I also did with the assistance of the business administrators, that he provided me with various emails and photographs from residents indicating the need for this and evidence of the problem. So that was also attached to the application. So again, I think we have a stronger application before, but if we can get a meeting and again, articulate our position, what's the old saying? The squeaky wheel gets the grease.
It gets the oil. Sometimes it gets replaced, so you have to be careful how much we squeak.
That's true, but I'm sure we could get his attention.
Thank you. Mr.
Absolutely.
Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Buno.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Mr. Ullman joined us at 7:08. For those that didn't notice, he's here. Motion to open the general public comment period of the meeting. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody in the audience? You're the only one, Mr. Clark.
I just wanted to say something about, previous speaker was speaking. I believe that
Mr.
Emerson
Farrar,
has
can you
gotten
just
$1 million.
Mr. Farrar, can you just,
State your
sorry.
name.
you
William
don't need to give
Farrar.
your
Just
address,
your
just your
name, not the
name.
address.
Yeah, I believe Emerson has gotten $1
You gotta
million.
give us your name. We know your name. I know it's,
Okay.
We know you, but you
but
need
you
to spell
gotta,
out
you gotta
that.
just tell us back.
I'm sorry?
Just gotta tell us your name just for the record.
William Farrar.
Thank you.
Thank
That's all we need.
I believe, once again, I believe Emerson has gotten $1 million on this program. And another town, I don't know whether it's Hillsdale or Westwood, has also gotten a significant amount of money. It was in the Pascack Press a couple of months ago. So, I mean, my question about it is, this is the $699,000 that you were talking
Yes.
about. Does that cover all 8 sections? What covers all 8 sections? Why not put it all in there and see what it can
Because we
get?
need millions and millions to cover all 8 sections.
Yeah, well, the federal government has the money.
That's an easier statement to make
So-
than to get the funding.
So what
Mr.
the
Buno
question
will try
is-
to get more money for us.
There are stormwater drains that drain into the brook just south of the bridge. There's one on each side, and there are others. Would they be covered by this in some sort of, would they still be allowed to drain into the brook, given, as he said, that there were, this goes right into the water supply?
Yes, that's,
They would continue? Okay, well. so-
we will, I think as a council and as administration, we will try to have Mr. Buno
Yeah.
achieve as much success in finding grants for any of this work as possible.
Okay,
But this only covers, it doesn't even cover a full section. It only covers a small segment between manhole and manhole of the sanitary sewer line. So it's not like it's covering thousands of feet or anything, if that's what you think. It's a small little section.
so then it probably benefits us to get all the towns that are watered on that brook together and present a united front to attempt to get more money to cover more than just one section.
That's what I'm working on with the Mayor's Association from the different towns.
Good. I mean,
We're trying our
since
best.
the federal government has money. They
We're
even
trying.
print it. I wanted to bring up something that happened at the last meeting. I think it was the last meeting. Mr. Sears showed the pictures of what happened at the bridge.
Yes.
So preface it, I saw Mr. Sears yesterday in Frescosa and spoke to him. And I had, previous to that, I had walked down, because I live in Cleveland, I walked down after this report and saw the 2 signs that say surveillance cameras, under surveillance all the time, 24 hours a day. And I looked around, I couldn't see any cameras. So Mr. Sears indicated to me that the cameras have been purchased, but have not been installed. So why not? Why haven't they been installed? What was the time? Was it January, February?
The cameras were not purchased. They were in the process of getting the funding to purchase the cameras.
So we don't have the cameras.
You know, right now, there's a camera there. I'm not going to tell you exactly, you know,
Okay.
but there is a camera there now.
So if there's a camera there and the sign says that it's under surveillance 24 hours, who's surveilling it? Is it some town employee somewhere sitting there looking at this? I mean,
What's going
I'm being a
to,
little bit facetious, but I wonder what, you know, this is.
And I'd rather not say because I would be giving away to the public
Secrets.
perhaps things, yeah,
All right,
so,
okay.
but it is
Well,
being,
it's being watched.
but
yeah,
Is the
Mr.
camera
Farr,
being monitored.
it's being monitored just
Yeah.
like your home system would be. If you had a home camera system and something
Okay.
happened that night, you'd go back on the tape, right? We'd roll back the tape,
Okay.
even though it's not a tape anymore, right? I'm dating myself.
yeah,
We'd roll back the hard drive.
yeah.
So I don't know what the results were, but on the way here tonight, I passed the sign at the high school where the congratulations to, big sign, congratulations to the decathlon team. And I know they went out to Pittsburgh last week to perform. I don't know the results, but when they congratulate them, I suspect you may have to have another group up here pretty soon. They probably won or came close to it because that's a tremendous accomplishment.
Correct.
Win the state and then go out to Pittsburgh. Now I want to go to my notes. Oh, this is a favorite. One son lives in Midgewood, and I drive down Linwood Avenue. And whenever I drive down Linwood Avenue after the day that they picked up garbage, all the garbage pails are lined up, upside down on the private property. Can we require that the garbage men who pick up the garbage do the same here? I mean, I understand if it's windy, empty cans blow all over the place, but quite often they just dump them on the street. I mean, it looks pretty messy. It doesn't look very nice. So when they request that they put this stuff face down on the private property. Then I have another question. There's a bill to be paid tonight to the Washington Township Recreation Basketball Association, $8,000 for referees' fees. Isn't the Washington Township Basketball Program a town program?
Yes, it's a town program.
So why are we paying a recreation program $8,000? Why don't we just pay the referees out of the treasury? Because who are they? Because I've seen the same thing with lacrosse. And that's also a town program. Why are we going through some Washington Township rather than making direct payments?
1 minute left, Mr. Farrar.
I'd have to look it up.
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Well,
I want to know,
excuse me, Mr. Farr, if I may. I think at one point, we were providing the funds to a resident who paid the refs during the course of the year. We had, I believe, changed it,
Yeah, we did change it. That was years ago we changed it, yes.
but I don't know when we reverted or why we reverted. But it was addressed previously because the concern you're raising was raised by.
get into the whole can of worms of separate set of books and audit and all the rest of that stuff.
Certainly.
So in watching the budget discussions, there have been various discussions where certain programs are self-funded, others may or may not be. So two examples. One example with the $125 fee for the veterans banners, would that have made it a self-funding program?
Yes.
You know?
Yes,
I believe it is a self-funded.
Yes.
program,
That would not cover the holiday banners, so that would be out of the town's budget, right?
That would be separate.
The holiday banners is separate than the veterans.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one-time cost is to have the banner produced.
Right.
And then there's the other cost to have them installed that, you know, that's separate, but that's just the $125 cost, Mr. Farrar, just to have the banner produced.
Okay. Then there was another one I was going to question, but I didn't make a note on it, so I forgot it, and then
Okay.
that's the way it goes. You were discussing the water bill during the budget, how high it had gotten. Is Clarkfield on a meter or on a well?
Clarkfield is on a meter.
On a meter. It's been watered at least 7 of the last 8 days in a row. I'm serious. Every morning I wake up, I look out the window, it's go. They go. And they go for 2 to 3 hours. I don't know why, because all the lawns are green in the area, nobody's watering anything. So I don't know why it'd be going. It's just running up a water bill.
Well, it was just fertilized, and our DPW workers did do adjust it as needed based on the fertilization rate, so.
Do we own 350 Pascack Road? Is it 350 or 450?
We do not own 450 Pascack.
We don't own it yet. But the 800,000 there's no closure on that at that point?
At this time, no.
Okay.
It's a discussion topic at the end of the meeting.
All right. Do we have any knowledge of what's going on at the old Charlie Brown's property? Are they actually going to build a Montessori school?
I believe there's a demolition permit in the window, right? I think they just got their demolition permit. If you look, there's a pink placard in the window for demolition to tear down the building.
And what about the old Viviano property? I guess now the Hovnanian property.
Well, it's not Hovnanian yet, so.
It's not Hovnanian yet. It's still. So.
They do not have any permits, but the Montessori school, I believe, earlier this week, they just posted the placard in the window for the demolition permit, if I'm not mistaken.
So I wanted to bring up the same thing I brought up last year. I know the CFO is comfortable at $635,000 as the tax assumed non-collectible taxes. But I looked at the financial statement that just went up on the website last week. We collected 99.5% of taxes. The average collection over the last 4 years is 99.37%. We reserved last year at 98.55. So I think maybe he's a little bit too comfortable. That should be reserving closer to 99%. And given that you're talking about a $40+ million tax bill, 0.5% means a few $100,000. So I would look at that 635 and see if it can't be reduced more in line with what the recent history is, not what makes the CFO comfortable.
I brought that up.
All due respect to the CFO, because he's doing his job. I used to do that job, so I do. I looked at the trial balances, and a few things that I wanted to bring up before I run out of time. The American Rescue Plan still has $144,000 sitting there?
We introduced that as a revenue this year.
So, excuse me?
We introduced that remaining balance as a revenue this year, so essentially it's zero.
So we're not going to charge anything to it. My point was that, there's some expenses that you put built into the budget that may be able to be applied to that and then reduce the expense side of the budget. I don't know. You have to look at it.
I think it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other, because we introduced that 144 as a revenue, so that reduced our taxable need.
Okay. We're still eligible to get money from that out of the plan, though, right?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe.
John, or Mr. Corcoran, do you have any? I think it's over, sir.
Yeah.
No, it's over. That was in 21 and 22 that we got those ones.
Yeah, that was a
Thank you.
COVID program, if I remember correctly.
We got it for 2 years. That's been over for a couple of years now.
Thank
So,
you.
Welcome.
Were the library renovations completed?
No, they haven't begun, depending on,
Because you still have the $25,000 reserve sitting on the trial balance. It's a $25,000 reserve for the library renovations that's been on the trial balance for a number of years.
I'll have to look into
And it
that.
might be used to offset some expenses. It's only 25, it's not a lot. There's an account called recreation donations. That's separate from the fees and the expenses of $100,000. There's an ambulance reserve, $60,000. Now, I'm going to bring up a personal thing. I had 2 instances where I was taken to the hospital after a 9/11 call, one in January, one in March. I'm here, I'm fine. But the people who came, the police came very quickly. The EMTs came, one set was from Pascack Valley, and the other one, I don't know where they came from. Both ambulances came, one was a Valley Hospital ambulance, and the other one was a county ambulance. I had a friend of mine who fell outside a restaurant in Montvale and had to have a 911 call. That was in February. His ambulance came from the county because Triborough was busy. I'm wondering whether in fact we have got to look at the viability of the ambulance corps. And should we be putting money into a reserve to buy an additional ambulance when, with all due respect to all the people who do wonderful work there, and hopefully they are successful in getting more volunteers, it looks like we may end up not having an ambulance corps, and we end up having to go to commercial operations. I know Triborough and Park Ridge and so forth, they were requested to pay $9,000 a person in order to get them to do it. That was in the paper a year and a half ago. So that's my concern about that. And the other thing, I know you did mention you were going to have a broader discussion of the police answering service.
Dispatching service.
Dispatch service. So my wife called the first time. She called both times, but the first time she was, listen, when she called, she identified who she was, where she was, what was going on. She spoke to the dispatcher. The dispatcher took all the messages. Then she could hear him passing off to the Washington Township dispatcher. And then a few minutes later, the policeman showed up. So there's a possibility that to some extent there's a duplication in the middle. There's a middleman there. I don't know whether that should be consideration also, but it just seems to me that we can't do a road program this year because taxes are going up so high, that we got to start looking at some of the tried and true ways and see if they're still viable.
Thank you, Mr. Farrar.
That's it. Thank you.
Nice seeing you again. I'm glad you're back.
You're welcome.
Hope to see you more often. No, more often. The weather's good. You could walk it.
That's right. Well, I generally don't go because I don't like to drive at night, so I come
I
in.
could pick you up. Have a good night.
I would sit and watch you guys.
There is no one else in the audience. Is there anyone on Zoom with their hand up? No one on Zoom. Motion to close the public comment portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Ordinances, adoption, second reading. Ordinance 24-07, an ordinance revising the criteria for LoSAP awards to members of the Township of Washington Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Resolution number 24-215, authorizing second reading and open public hearing of ordinance 24-07. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Is it possible to table this?
Any reason, Mr. Allen?
Well, one of the reasons we've heard that we want to change the schedule is to increase participation.
That is correct.
I would like to be able to measure that. So I was hoping to get some information on the response rates, the number of calls that have come in, and the response rates for 2023 and year-to-date 2024. And so until we have a baseline to know if this is effective.
Would you be able to share that with Ms. Witkowski so she can get it to the rest of the council once you receive that information?
Certainly.
Is everybody okay, Mr. Ullman, would like this tabled until we all receive more information?
I just feel like we've visited this multiple times already.
And I agree.
And, I mean,
Well, I think Mr. Ullman's made a,
What have we visited multiple times?
discussing the LoSAP for the
You
ambulance.
had the ambulance corps people right here. You could ask them the questions then.
They presented and they were comfortable.
When they're talking about
That's just,
getting people not taking classes as much as getting involved.
Okay, well, we'll see if that happens. And the only way we'll see if it happens is if we have some way to measure it. I've made a request of the administration, and I haven't heard back from them. So maybe it's in the works, maybe it's not, but, you know, I motion to table.
Council President DeSena, if I can comment?
We just got to get over this motion. Hold on one second. Does anybody second that motion?
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
Roll call to table 24-07 until more information is provided by the administration.
Does Mr. DeCarlo have information that would satisfy?
I just wanted to clarify, at least me hearing what Councilman Ullman said, if I was listening to that, not knowing, it would be suggested that we didn't respond to his request. I did politely respond to his request. I asked him to speak to the mayor about it. So there has been communication with Councilman Ullman from the administration.
Thank you. Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
No.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
No.
Council President DeSena.
Yes, so we'll table this until, I guess, Mr. DeCarlo gets the information from the mayor. Can you share that information with Ms. Witkowski so we can get it to the council?
I'll talk to Mr. Altman about it. We've been, I'll say, missing each other for lack of a better term.
Okay. Introduction, first reading, ordinance number 24-08, calendar year 2024 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 40A:4-45-14. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance 24-08 at first reading by title. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolution number 24.
We ask, can I ask a question about this?
Sure.
Just, there's no expense or levy by establishing this bank, is that correct? This allows us to create a bank, sort of an off-balance sheet account?
Councilwoman, it's basically a reserve account, just in the event something unforeseen were to happen, if we went over the 2.5%. This is just getting prior approval from the state in case anything unforeseen happens.
But just to be very specific,
Yes.
Mr. Corcoran, we're not raising revenue to pay for this. There's no expense here. It's a book entry at the moment.
No, there isn't. And just so the council knows, if you look at the budget sheets, sheet 3B and sheet 19, if you want to see the breakdown of where those numbers come from, those would be the sheets that you could look at that would show.
3B and
There's no expense.
You said-
It's really two things. It's creating reserve account and getting prior approval from the state in the event something unforeseen were to happen.
Mr. Corcoran, you said in the
3B
the municipal
and
data
19.
sheets 3B and 19.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Cool.
That was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Altman.
Mr. Corcoran, one question. If this cap bank is not spent during the year, what happens to it? It goes to revenue in 2 years out or the next year?
It basically just remains at what it is now. I'm trying to see if I can word this correctly. We're really not spending the money. We're getting approval for a higher number in case it does happen.
But it's just approval. It's just
So
asking
not like we're spending
permission.
that extra money and then getting the money back.
Yeah, we're just asking the state for permission if we need to go out above 2.5%.
Yes, because if you don't get the permission now and something were to happen,
It's harder to get it later.
then it would be a bit of a problem.
Okay.
So there's no expense.
Okay.
It's just getting prior approval from the state.
Resolution number 24-216, authorizing publication of ordinance number 24-08 and schedule a public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Ordinance number 24-09, an ordinance permitting overnight parking for active first responders of the Township of Washington. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 24-09 at first reading by title. I'll make the motion. Somebody second?
Second.
Roll call?
Can we have this go?
Oh, sure.
There doesn't appear to be an exception or guidance on if there is a snow emergency. If there's
I
no-
believe we talked, they would not be allowed during a snow emergency is what the chief had said.
Should that,
Correct, Peter? Wasn't that made?
I honestly don't recall offhand.
I believe there was no
No
parking.
parking, all these rules,
Yeah, I'm going to say a snow emergency almost overrides everything.
everything, they're all void.
Right.
So do you want to put that, have Mr. Pollard update this to include that?
I mean, I think we should, if it's granting permission to, for lack of a better term, break a law,
Yeah.
should we?
I know we talked about it and there was no exemptions during a snow emergency. They would have to be removed off the street.
I mean, I think it should be, I mean, personally, I would like to see.
Mr.
it.
Pollard, can we approve this as is and we'll make an amendment to it?
Yeah, I don't think it's a major change, so I think that's okay to do. As a matter of fact,
Why don't we just put it in there right now and
Yeah.
introduce it that way? I don't have is the draft on here? And
Do you have it in your packet, Mr. Pollard?
I do, let me
This is
get,
24-09, Mr. Pollard.
yeah, no, I want to get to it 1 second, hold on.
Okay.
What would go on section D, most likely?
24, oh, no, hold on a second, get into it here. 2408,
Yeah, we just put it in 1D, Mr. Pollard? That-
Yeah, 1 second, I'm getting to it, hold on. No parking.
You also
Yes.
have any
Right.
others in 1D that.
Right, right. By the way, I had asked anybody else if they wanted that. That should come out, obviously.
Yeah,
So
so when you
I-
take that out, and just put no parking when snow
Right.
emergency is declared.
No parking in the streets regardless of the issuance of permit to a first
It should
responder.
be when any.
Aztec Road, okay, all right. After Washington Avenue, semicolon, nor during any municipal declared snow emergency.
Or any,
Any emergencies.
Mr.
Because we have hurricanes.
Yeah, because we have a hurricane or something, so any emergency,
Emergency.
Well,
any emergency.
who declares it?
Well, if it's a state of an emergency,
Because we already have the ordinance for no parking during snowstorms. I mean,
Yeah, but there's a-
you can include that ordinance into this and add,
All right,
yeah.
so just I think you just read is fine, Mr. Pollard,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Okay.
And then,
Hey, if there was an emergency, they'd all be at the firehouse with their cars.
Anyway.
Right,
So they wouldn't
right,
be parked in front of their house,
right, right.
right?
Yep.
Hopefully. Well, not hopefully, you know what I mean.
they're good.
They'll be doing their
They'll be
job.
there.
Yeah.
They'll be doing their job.
is there a reason why we are not allowing a commercial vehicle? I'm assuming some responders use a work vehicle possibly, whether it's theirs or a company provided. I
The
mean,
reason why, and this came from the members, that there's really maybe 1 or 2 people that actually have a commercial vehicle, but commercial vehicles should not be on the street at night.
Or park, yeah, we have an ordinance that prohibits
Right.
them from their driveways also, so really they shouldn't have a commercial vehicle. So
okay.
why we exempted it, Mr. Holman.
And the last is active. Isn't the term active defined by each of those departments or corps?
That means that you have to be an active member, maintaining your credits to, respond to fire calls.
Or
So-
ambulance calls.
Or, right,
Yeah,
or an
any other
ambulance
call.
corps,
You have to be a member in good, an active member in good standing. Is that a good way to put it?
You can't be let's say a relief association member, because you don't respond to fire. These are for active members.
But this is, okay. All this is saying is the active member is defined as a first responder who is on call to respond to emergencies,
emergency calls,
emergency calls, so.
Right.
from their respective emergency service organizations.
So you have a relief member that is not
quote unquote an active member. He's an associate member, but he's not an active member.
And
What
there,
I'm saying, an act.
Oh.
And don't forget, this all has to go through the director for approval.
Yes.
And then he, right, and the ambulance call goes through the captain. So they will know who's an active member and who is not an active member.
Anything else, Mr. Holman?
Can it be revoked?
Sure, anything can be wrong.
Do we need to say that or no?
No. I think the director and the captains.
It's too much
have a good
micromanaging.
handle on, their departments.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
yes,
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolution number 24-217, authorizing publication of ordinance number 24-09 and schedule a public hearing. I'll make the motion. Somebody else second it.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
yes,
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Ordinance number 24-10, bond ordinance appropriating $1,010,000 and authorizing the issuance of $961,000 in bonds or notes of the township for various improvements or purposes authorized to be undertaken by the Township of Washington and the County of Bergen, New Jersey. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 24-10 at first reading by title. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Did you have something, Mr. Holman?
I just had a couple questions.
Sure, go ahead. Hold on one second. Mr. Holman has a question.
Do we know what the current rates are on these bands?
No, but we do have several options once we get to that point.
And what would those options be?
Well, we have Acacia, we have the county, I believe, right? Borrow money through.
Right?
Excuse me, Mr. Crawford, please speak into the microphone.
I believe we can borrow money utilizing Acacia, which the council approved. Was it Phoenix?
Phoenix.
Phoenix, and then also I believe we can borrow money through the county.
Well, we don't know what the carry rate would be.
No, I don't know what those rates are yet.
And what's our current band balance?
How much do we owe?
And then it's close to bonds.
Right, I don't think we have any bans, correct, John?
No, we don't have any bands. We
Just
have
have
two
a bond,
bonds. right
two
now,
bonds.
1927, yes.
2 bonds, correct?
Yes.
Totaling, I don't like to throw out numbers, but I think it's between the 19 and 20 million.
Yeah, I believe that's the
Yeah, I don't have that page in front of me.
Yeah,
don't know.
I believe that's what it is. Don't hold me to it.
Okay, and the last thing is, would it make sense to split the Musqueam improvements and do a shorter term for the other? Because I believe it says we can do these for 15 years, a bond, once it gets capitalized. And, I don't think the useful life of any of the things that we're purchasing comes close to that, other than the capital expenditure around the improvement for the Musqueam.
Do you have an answer, John?
Well, to be honest, I mean, our next move probably later this year is, especially if this were to get approved, we're going to have to probably go out for a note probably later this year, I would imagine, based on the money we have in our capital bank accounts and what's being, our capital budget. That's going to be our next move, is to do a ban probably later this year, I would say.
Understood, but is that, what is it, section 4B, where it talks about the useful life, that we can bond for 15 years? Does it make sense to bond some of these items for 15 years? I guess is the question.
Well, I mean, just so you know, typically every 2 to 3 years, we have to go out and do a ban. And in my opinion, a ban is better to be done because basically when you do a ban, you have to pay it off within a year, which means if you were to do a ban this year, it wouldn't hit the budget until 2026. So doing a ban as opposed to doing a bond gives you an extra year before it affects the taxpayers, basically. So that's why, in my opinion, that would be the best option.
Understood that this is a tactical solution and the long-term solution is permanent bonding.
Right.
My question is, this talks about a 15-year bond. It's authorizing it. I guess that's what we're approving this evening. And I guess my only question is, one of the things we're doing is this the batting cages? You know, I don't know if it makes sense to bond or pay interest and service debt for 15 years on batting cages that likely won't last that long. So, you know, we have one large infrastructure project that I could understand is 15 years, similar to the service building. My question is, should we be bonding at a shorter duration?
I might have to consult with the bond counsel about that to get a clear answer for you on that. Basically, how it works too is, in terms of how much we can go out for a ban, it's basically any bond ordinance that are unfunded that we haven't utilized yet. And then it's a question of how much money we have, how much money I think we'll need, which will determine how much of that I will utilize, like when we do a ban, because you don't have to utilize all the money. So, and the reason why I bring it up is because that's something to keep in mind, because like I said, eventually that will have to get paid off. You're going to issue a bond, and then the next year it's going to hit the current fund. So, and we already have 2 bonds on the books already. So I'm just saying that's something to keep in mind too.
Okay.
Because that's the way I look at it. So I would want to get enough money to make sure all these projects get done, but maybe not put us in such a bad spot where 2 years from then, you know, you're going to have another, you know, $10 million to raise in the budget. You wouldn't want that either. So it's kind of a 50-50 thing now.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Discussion. I just want to bring something up. You know, we've spent a lot of nights in this chamber till all hours of the morning, and I appreciate everybody's hard work, on both sides. I just have one comment, and it just upsets me that the $700,000 for this emergency repair was not given to us until the final night of the budget. I know we did capital at the end of the budget like we always do, but if we have something of that magnitude in the future, please, you know, bring it to our attention as soon as possible, because having it dropped on our lap the last night of the budget meetings at, you know, late hours, it was a little disheartening. So, roll call.
Well, can I respond to that, Mike?
Yes, Peter.
Thank you. We didn't get the numbers from Boswell until about a week before that last meeting.
But we could have had them a week before that then. To wait till midnight to go over a number of that magnitude is just, it's just not, whether it was midnight or 9 o'clock at night, to wait till that last meeting, I think, you know, it would have been, it was a big thing to swallow at midnight that night, to have $700,000 that we didn't even know about. We knew that, you know, so I'll just leave it at that.
And I have my own opinions about meetings going till midnight, but
We have to get it done. Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolution number 24-227, authorizing publication of ordinance number 2410 and schedule a public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolution number 24229, authorized temporary capital budget section CYA 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Ordinance number 24-11, an ordinance under Chapter 87 of the Code of Township of Washington setting forth the rate of clothing allowance of officers and firefighters of the fire department in said municipality for the year 2024. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 24-11 at first reading by title. Do I have a motion?
Council President,
Yes.
may I
Can we do a motion and a
We gotta
second
just do a
before you
motion.
comment,
I'm sorry.
please?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Discussion, Mr. Sears?
This is on 24229.
This is on 24-11.
Did we skip something?
Am I missing a
I'm like,
page?
Because.
No.
We did the temporary work on page 5. We just did the temporary
Yeah.
capital, right?
But what do you feel like you're missing?
No, I feel like something was cut off.
Yeah.
No, the
No,
authorized
then-
temporary capital budget.
Temporary
is
capital
different.
May we go back to 24229? I got confused here, something in the paperwork.
Yeah, that was my hesitation.
I would love to change, I want to change my vote to no on this. I think we should go back and add the 500,000 to finish up the road program. We still have the 225.
We left the 225 in there.
Yeah, and with the 500 to give us enough to continue working on the road department program. So, Mr. President, I'm sorry I voted yes on this, but I want to change my vote to no on this, please.
Can we do that, Mr. Pollard? We already voted, Mr. Pollard.
Make a motion to reconsider.
All right, make a motion to reconsider.
You want to make a motion to reconsider 24-227 or 229?
229, please.
Well, 229 only appropriates the money. 227 is the ordinance where the money is laid out. Right, Mr. Pollard?
No, yeah, that's the confusion.
That's what, yeah.
'cause I'm
229 is to
looking
authorize
at-
the temporary capital budget spending, but it's the same part of 227.
I don't understand it either.
All
No.
right, now you got me confused.
227 is
Because
the
there's
ordinance.
an
is the-
asterisk, and
Yeah.
that was,
227 is the ordinance that lays out all the funding sort, right? What we're buying, we're 700,000 in,
that was for the bond.
yes.
Yes, that's different.
That's different
So
than
then,
the temporary capital budget is what I want to vote
But that's
no
the
on.
capital, but that's the capital is 2410 is the capital. 24227 is the capital ordinance.
So you want to raise the 2410 by $600,000,
500.
$500,000.
wait,
So the-
say that again?
Yeah, so the motion is, Mr. Sears, you want to raise 24-10 by another $500,000.
That would cover the road work that we actually can continue to stay on target with. And hopefully with the grant money that Mr. Bruno was talking about, we can move ahead and satisfy our continuing road department going forward. I think $500,000, and if we bond it out, I think over 20 years, is about $15 a year,
It's more than that.
$14 a
It's
year.
more than that.
This is just an estimate. But,
So you want to make a motion to amend 2410 by $500,000.
Well, wait a second, you know. if
I know.
you-
Yeah, Mr.
Now I gotta go back to the final cancel.
Yeah.
I mean, if Mr. Sears wants to change his vote on
Resolution and it's gonna pass anyway, then you can reconsider and have a vote on the resolution, on just the resolution. But if you're gonna start changing the actual bond ordinance, that's gotta go back to the bonding attorney.
And it's got to go back to Lord Schmitzy to create a whole new
Correct.
financial statement.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's kind of,
Well, this is the,
we'd have to redo the
Introduction.
whole, we'd have to redo the whole introduction package that's in our folder right now because you'd have to change all the numbers for the additional 500,000. Everything would change.
Yeah, you would just do it for next meeting, I suppose.
If I can make a suggestion, the council can introduce a capital ordinance at any time during the year. So
Well,
if
if we
you-
get the grants, we could take the money back and
Well,
reallocate it.
when-
That's what I would anticipate. If Mr. Buno is successful in these grants, the money we removed for the Motsquap St. Brook would
Go
be
back in.
returned back to roads. So, that was always the intention we discussed, is
Yes.
that if we got the
Well,
grants,
what if we don't?
then we're
Like, I
not gonna
think-
redo all the math that we've agreed to for another $500,000. Lord Trinity would have to redo everything. We'd have to reintroduce everything.
That's his job.
Yeah, but we already have to, we have to introduce it tonight in order to meet the deadline. We have to
Well,
introduce it
Mr.
tonight.
Carlo just said that.
That's capital. He's saying.
Yeah, capital.
Yes.
Not the budget. The budget numbers, the way that they are, have to be
Budget's different.
introduced tonight.
The capital.
Right.
So,
It's different from the
Yeah,
capital.
but the capital numbers are in the budget.
Right.
So we could always add $500,000 later on, but tonight we have to leave it the way it is because it has to be introduced or we're gonna miss our deadline.
Yeah, I mean, if you have enough council members who don't agree, it doesn't have to. Ideally, it would, but it doesn't have to.
If Mr. Sears, do you want to make a motion or not? Because we need to continue.
yeah, my motion is to increase it to 500,000. But as it exists now, I'm voting no for the capital budget and no for.
Well, you've already voted yes, so we have to make it. So how do we do this?
To revote.
Ken?
Yeah,
Well, we have to
Wait,
make,
you've got like three different things going on here right now.
Ken's got to give us guidance.
One at a time.
now let's go slow, okay, fellas?
Yeah.
Ordinance 2410, pardon my voice, by the way, I'm sorry. So you actually introduced 24, the bond ordinance has already been introduced, right?
Yes,
All right, and Mr. Sears, what you want to do is you want to change your vote and vote not to introduce it, correct? Correct. All right, so it's just the bond ordinance is not changing. You're going to make a motion to reconsider the introduction of ordinance 2410 at first reading by title. So that's the first you're going to do. If that passes, then you'll do a motion to introduce it and you'll vote the way you want to, and you'll see if you have 3 votes to pass it. Okay?
You're gonna vote to reintroduce it, and then you're gonna vote on that.
Okay.
You have the motion to reconsider it, then you have to have a
Yeah, you
second.
have the motion to reconsider 24-10.
Gotcha.
With the same number,
All right.
okay?
2410.
Yes.
Correct.
2410.
See, that resolution got mixed in here.
But
Yeah.
that's supposed to be part of the capital. That's just the order it had to go in.
Yeah, that's where mine.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
you're serious.
Mr. Sears, do you want to make a motion?
Yes, we make a motion to
Reintroduce.
reintroduce. To reconsider.
Reconsider.
I'm sorry, reconsider? Yeah, the introduction and passage of ordinance 2410 at first reading. I can't hear what he's saying.
I got it, I got it.
Got it. So you just have to say.
Who's second? Anybody?
I
second?
second.
Roll call.
Okay, Councilman Gassion,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
No. Wait, this is the motion to. Oh, introduce. I'm sorry.
Okay, and then you can say yes.
Yes,
Say no.
reintroduce.
Say yes, say no. Yes, say yes. Say no.
Sorry, been a long day.
all right, let's try this again. Councilman Gassion.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Okay. Councilman Owen.
This is to reintroduce 2410?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes.
All right, now, Mr. DeSena, now you're gonna just start like you
Then just gonna be voted on.
scratch.
Ordinance
Okay.
number 24-10, bond ordinance appropriating $1,010,000
Guys,
and authorizing the issuance of $961,000 in bonds or notes of the township for various improvements or purposes authorized to be undertaken by the Township of Washington and the County of Bergen, New Jersey. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance 24-10 at first reading by title. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Well, is there any discussion?
We discussed.
We just discussed it.
Well-
Just had it.
Well,
I will discuss.
shouldn't, well, no,
Oh,
I understand what you want, but we haven't, within the motion, we haven't changed anything. So we're going to vote exactly as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right then, that's fine.
Right.
okay. Councilman Gassion.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
No.
Councilman Owen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
no.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolution number 24-227, authorizing publication of ordinance number 24-10 and schedule a public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call? Take your time.
That's okay. Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
No.
Councilman Omen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Senna.
Resolution number 24-229, authorized temporary capital budget section CYA 2024. Do I have a motion?
Sir, can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure,
I
sir.
apologize. This is what I don't understand. What is this for? What is this resolution for?
Yeah, I don't even see this resolution.
It's in there. It's in there. Yes, it's in there.
But what would this authorize us to do?
The capital budget. It's your temporary capital budget.
It's temporary.
It's
That's all-
temporary.
it's
Like have a regular
your capital budget that you put through. It's just
So we would get a
authorized.
percentage of it to get started?
It would give you the ability to go tell your vendors that you're going to do the work.
Yeah, that's
Do you remember
what
if we
this is.
did
That's
that
what
last
this
year?
is. Mayor,
Yes.
I'm sorry?
the one that looks like this. Should be right behind it.
Did we have done that last year?
Yes.
Oh, so I'm,
That's why I went and I followed exactly what we
Okay.
did last year.
Yeah,
but
it's the
so
same thing.
it'll dictate how much or what percentage of each line we can?
Not just whatever your capital budget is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is from,
Confusing.
And I don't understand this
page
extra.
from Lord Vinci here.
We had a temporary budget for.
Did you find it?
For the first quarter.
Okay, all right, let's continue. Resolution 2429, authorized temporary capital budget. Do I have a motion?
Are you going backwards on that one too, right?
Did we do a motion a second on?
You did all that. You did that.
Yeah, but we
I
have to
don't think
redo it,
I
right?
want to Redo it?
Ken, do we have to
Ken, do you
redo
have
this
to
just to be
redo
safe?
that one?
Did you know that? You gotta make the same motions.
All right. Resolution number 24-229, authorized temporary
Come
cap.
out, come out. What, Ken?
Now you gotta make the motion to reconsider it, you already voted on it.
Oh, motion to reconsider resolution number 24-229,
So moved.
authorized temporary capital budget section CYA 2024.
Didn't we just vote on that?
Yes, we have to reconsider it.
We have to reconsider it
Because we gotta open up again.
Because we got to open it up.
I'm sorry, so motion is by,
Mr. Casio.
and second by, thank you very much.
Roll call.
Can you just clarify what we're voting on? Because this is getting really confusing.
If you look at 24-2229,
Yeah, this is your resolution you're looking
Yes,
for.
I
This
have
is your
that.
capital budget.
Yes,
That's what you're voting on.
but we just,
Throw it that
so,
away.
That's,
how did it go? The bond ordinance, correct.
Okay. Council President, you good? May I ask Mr. Pollard a question?
sure, Mr. Pollard, Mr. Pollard has a question.
And I apologize because I know probably you'll have rocks thrown at me or not, but the bond ordinance, since it concerns the borrowing of money, does that need 4 out of 5 votes or just 3 out of
It
5?
needs three for introduction, 4 for passage.
Okay, thank you. Don't throw any rocks. Thank you.
No rocks, no
I
rocks.
appreciate it.
no
Thank you.
rocks, No rocks.
Roll call.
Councilman Hale,
yes.
Councilman Sears,
Reintroduced. Yes.
Councilman Omen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
For reintroduction, correct?
Well, reconsideration. Yeah,
Reconsideration.
Right.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Now we're going to take another vote, right, Mr. Pollard?
Right, on the resolution itself.
Resolution number 24-229, authorized temporary capital budget section CYA 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Omen.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Councilman Sears, I'm sorry.
No.
Councilman Omen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
No.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. So the capital budget fails.
No,
No?
That's this resolution.
the temporary,
Temporary capital budget. I know the bond ordinance needs 4. I believe this only needs 3, but we have to check that.
Okay, so it might pass. Okay. We already did,
Um,
we did the clothing allowance. That's where Mr. Sears got us all. So we have a motion for the clothing allowance already, right, Ms. Witkowski?
Let me just make it real quick, I'm sorry. I'm sure. All right, Ken, so tomorrow we'll double check the votes.
You'll get back to us tomorrow, Mr.
Yep.
Fowler, on
Yes,
24229?
Yes,
You only need 3.
I think it's
It's not an increase.
I think it is 3, but I want
It's
to.
only 3, but.
We'll check, we'll check.
We'll just check.
Ordinance- So we introduced 2411 already. We have a motion and a second, and then Mr. Sears went back. So we have a motion, we have a second on 24-11, right?
Yes, we have a motion by Councilman Casio, and we have a second by Councilman DeSena, Council President DeSena, and then we went into.
And then Mr. Ullman has a
Right.
question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Ullman.
So there are 3 grants, or 3, not 3 grants, excuse me, 3 reimbursements, for lack of a better term, for the fire department. One is the clothing, one is LoSAP, and I believe there's safer grants, or a safer grant that is distributed.
Yes.
Do all 3 of them use the same criteria, or do they use different criteria? And are they getting to the same point, basically?
The safer and the clothing are all based on your amount of fire calls that you respond to. You have to make your 50%. LoSAP is based on your fire calls plus the amount of internal meetings and trainings that you attend.
Okay, so safer and clothing,
I'll just say,
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
but not to put words in your mouth, that's answering a call.
correct. Calls, drills, you know.
Okay,
things like that.
perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
roll call?
All right, Councilman,
Cassie.
where am I?
Husband motion.
We did.
No,
a
you
motion.
did a motion,
We
you
did
did
a
a
motion.
second, and now we're doing a roll call. Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Okay, I got a little map here. Councilman Sears,
I have to recuse myself.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes,
Councilwoman Velez. Yes. Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolution number 24228, authorizing publication of ordinance number 24-11 and schedule a public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Roll call? I'll second.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Recusing myself.
Councilman Ullman,
yes,
Councilwoman Velez. Yes. Council President DeSena.
Yes. Budget resolution, resolution number 24-218, introduction of the 2024 Township Municipal Budget. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
second.
Any discussion?
My only question is, why isn't the temporary capital laid out like this one, under this headline? Budget resolution.
Because the capital follows the bond ordinance. You have your funding, you have your project, that's the way it was.
And may I ask why there's an asterisk?
Only so you knew it was a resolution, it was not part of, it was just so it stood out. That's the only reason why I did that. So you knew it was capital, it was not just a part of the ordinance resolution adoptions.
Any other discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes,
Councilwoman Velez,
No.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolutions, consent agenda. The following items have been determined to have the unanimous consent of council and will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such item removed from the consent agenda. Council President, I ask that anybody wants anything.
That is great.
Yeah. Does anyone want anything from the consent agenda to be removed at this time? Does anyone want any of the items removed?
no, I just have one question.
Sure, Mr. Ullman.
How do we make our reimbursements back to the refunds for these fees, the rec fees specifically? Does it go back to the original method of payment, or do we cut a check?
We cut a check.
We cut a check.
Yeah.
If you use
So you'll
community
see it
pass,
on
you
the
get
bill.
charged a fee to do it, Mr.
We don't get any fees for writing checks. No.
No, I'm saying if you were to use community pass.
Oh,
it would-
yes.
It would charge you the 3% or whatever fee it is
Right.
to issue the refund back. Because it would be another credit card transaction. If that answers your question, Mr. Ullman.
No, it does, but I thought we did away with processing refunds, or I thought we waived the refund fee because we were doing it via the original method of payment.
There was an administrative fee of, I think, $25 that was taken out.
I
The
mean,
mayor insisted on that being a couple of years ago, I think, right, Mayor?
I don't like the word insist, but I suggest it, yes.
No,
Yeah.
you felt very.
Yes, I do, yes,
You
yeah.
felt it was strong.
Right, but always the council's decision.
Yes.
so there, it costs a lot of money to process a check. So if we're,
Something to bring up during the next agenda item, Mr. Ullman, if you'd like to bring it up.
certainly, the next agenda item, you got it.
All right, so no resolution is being removed from this consent agenda, right? Okay. Resolution number 24219, authorize the appointment of municipal representatives to Bergen County Community Development Regional Committee. Actually, we do need to vote on that. So we'll pull 24219 for now. So we're going to pull 24219. All right. Resolution number 24-220, authorize the mayor to execute the solid waste service agreement with the BCUA for the collection, processing, and disposal of solid waste from June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2026. Resolution number 24-221, authorize refund of boys lacrosse registration fee, Charles, in the total amount of not to exceed $155. Resolution number 24-222, authorize refund of girls lacrosse registration Newell in the total amount of $145. Resolution number 24-223, authorize refund of summer camp registrations fees for zoo and movies, Uno, in the total amount of not to exceed $90. Resolution number 24-224, authorize refund of summer camp swim pass registration fees, Steiner, in the total amount of not to exceed $175. Resolution number 24-225, authorize refund of full before aftercare registration fees, Kim, in the total amount of not to exceed $770. Resolution number 24-226, authorize refund of Montvale Lanes registration fees, Sayers, in the total amount of not to exceed $80. Resolution number 24-230, authorize refund of summer camp registration fees for swim pass in the total amount not to exceed $140. That doesn't have a name to it, so I don't know who that goes to.
Should we pull that one?
No.
No, I'm sure Ms. Wiskowski.
230,
Yeah, 230 doesn't have a name, so it doesn't, I mean,
it's,
It is
Temiz.
Temiz, T-E-M-I-Z, Temiz.
Temiz. Resolution number 24-231, authorize submission of fiscal year 2025 congressionally directed spending request application for stormwater infrastructure repairs. Resolution number 24-232, authorize refund of engineering escrow block 3304, lot 38 in the amount of not to exceed $185.75. Resolution number 24-233, authorize refund of engineering escrow block 2329, lot 2 in the amount not to exceed $1,415.50. Resolution number 24-234, authorize refund of engineering performance guarantee block 2504, lot 5 in the amount of not to exceed $3,859.75. Resolution number 24-235, authorize refund of engineering escrow block 4302, lot 9 in the amount not to exceed $1,581.50. Resolution 24236, authorize refund of engineering escrow block 2319, lot 3 in the amount not to exceed $1,000. Resolution number 24-237, authorize refund of engineering escrow block 2412, lot 17 in the amount of not to exceed $445. Resolution number 24-238, authorize refund of engineering escrow block 140201, lot 13 in the amount of not to exceed $1,000. Motion to approve consent agenda resolutions as presented.
So moved.
Second,
second,
roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution 24-219, authorize the appointment of municipal representatives to Bergen County Community Development Regional Committee. Do I have a motion for any, who would like to be submitted?
Well,
Uh,
Discussion.
Oh, hold on.
Have a
Motion,
motion to discuss.
So moved.
second,
Second.
Do I have a nomination?
I would like to nominate Mr. Sears.
I'll second that.
We need two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll do one at a
Oh,
time.
you want to do one at a time?
Yeah, I think that's.
Well, I wanted to
that's-
nominate
okay.
you, so I would like to nominate
I'll second
Mr.
that.
Sears and Mr. Cassio.
Well, let me be honest with you. The time the meetings are scheduled,
Okay. Is that good?
I cannot make it. I would love to be there, but I've done it in the past.
What time
but
are the meetings, Mr.
They're
Sears?
usually in the afternoon, so I can't make it from Newark up, so. There's no
What
way I
is the
can do it.
commitment to that?
What's that?
What is the commitment to that?
It's a meeting maybe once a month, once a quarter, not too often, very infrequently. I just can't
Well,
pull
It's good to
myself
sit
up.
on the board because
You
you
get,
know
There-
it's there, so when they dish it out.
Where did
yeah,
the
you know,
meetings take place?
there's really not much you have to, I think it happens at.
It's one person and an alternate. so
Yeah.
I could, if it's once a quarter, I could do it. If it's once a
Yeah,
quarter, I
I
could
just
do
can't
it.
break away.
I mean, if we're not on the board when they decide
They like to
dish
see
out
you.
the money,
Someone has to be there.
So I make a motion for Mr. Sears and I'll do the alternate spot if everybody's okay
I'll
with that.
second
I'll
Mr.
second it.
Roll call.
All right, so,
Resolution 24-219.
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what was this.
Well, if you ever need an alternate to the alternate, let me know.
Yeah,
The alternate.
The alternate to the
the
alternate.
alternate to the alternate, the assistant to the
11
assistant.
o'clock at night, call me.
Okay, Councilman Cassio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSantis.
Yes. Motion to adjourn to conference agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, everyone. Next meeting of the Township Council will be on May 6, 2024, beginning at 7 PM.
That
Let's
was
go
Monday.
to, that's Monday. Let's go to council conference agenda in the back. Okay. Current business, conference agenda, April 30th, 2024. DPW building, I know Mr. Mayor and Mr. DeCarlo have that on here. I know we have it as a placeholder. I don't think because of the budget, we haven't gotten anywhere, right?
Yeah, by next Monday, we expect to have, I think what you asked for, Mike, the price about going up on,
Okay.
but since it's only less than a week away.
DPW, excuse me, yard permit?
Can I ask a
Oh,
question?
sure, yes, Mr. Hall.
Well, just because I missed the approval of the expenses,
Oh, okay.
and there is something about the DMF building. We're charging the capital ordinance to rent the DPW, to rent Our Lady of Good Counsel. And I was just wondering, and perhaps I am misremembering, if that's the term, but I thought we had a discussion that this should come out of the current account, not of the capital account.
We
I'll be
did.
happy to answer that.
Oh. We can't do it until the budget's approved. I can't.
Because it's a new line item. There was no temp budget on this new line item, so we will reimburse that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion, Mr. Alman, on that?
No, that was it.
Yard permits, Mr. DeCarlo or Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Thank you, Council President. At the request of the council, you guys, some of you had brought up that there was the commingling of vegetative waste and debris when the yards open on Tuesdays and Saturdays. I know no one's looking for an apology from me, but just to give one, it really was something that wasn't on my radar. And once I was last to look into it, I did make a couple observations that it does certainly happen. And that yard is extremely busy on Tuesdays and Saturdays. I mean, it is vehicle
Yeah, no,
after
it's fine.
vehicle
We know
after
it.
vehicle. So you guys and girls do have the ordinance in front of you, but before I get to it, I just want to tell you that me and the mayor met with DPW superintendent, found out how it was the norm, so to speak, of how it was being run. And then what we did to put some change in place and hoping that the ordinance is cleaned up with some suggestions that we do have. But starting last week, they put out 2 trucks now. There's 2 garbage trucks out. Tuesday's a little difficult to have 2 because of their pickup routes. And if a truck goes down, Saturday's very easy to have 2, but the current process and procedure now is to have 2 trucks. again, unless there's something we can't control, like a truck is down and it's out for a maintenance, or we have too many going out for.
So we're gonna have a vegetative truck and
We have a
a solid
vegetative
waste truck?
Yes. So.
Well, I guess the main reason for that was, isn't there a difference in cost to dump when you have a
There
commercial
is,
dog? Yeah.
there is. So I mean, you know, everyone knows from talking about the shared service agreement that it went up to like the low 90s, which includes the tipping fee. So, you know, we went through the whole thing, the mayor and I, with him, as to what happens, how is it compacted, but when it goes to the solid waste dump, you know, what do they do with the vegetative waste and things like that. The only thing that's really kind of hard to control is I did see in the past, when I recalled when you guys had mentioned this, and what I was really actually seeing is sometimes people will come with a small garbage can or whatever that has some leaves mixed with some debris. And I mean, short of making them pick it out.
Yeah, that's,
But, you know, we have definitely, you know, assured that there are 2 trucks, one for vegetation and one for debris, moving forward. And, you know, we do want to not necessarily have a training session, but make sure the ordinance and its rules are being interpreted uniformly by the 9 different members of the DPW that could potentially work the yard.
okay.
So that led us going to reviewing the solid waste, and in reviewing this, and I know we've talked about construction waste several times. Unfortunately, the ordinance does not discuss construction waste at all. What it does discuss is garden debris and light trash. And if you asked me to define light trash, I couldn't. Because the only definitions are commercial vehicle, ecology facility, and non-commercial vehicle. It does go on to what is prohibited and what is not prohibited. And then the means of, on page 2, paragraph A, is probably, you know, the second most important after defining light trash and or saying no construction material, is how we identify the appropriateness of someone being able to dump. And, you know, the mayor and I are prepared this evening to make a recommendation. And this is after talking with Sue as well as the clerk as to how it's administered. We think the best way to identify someone as a township resident is to have them provide their driver's license. It does call for it in the paragraph, but it just says that I think that someone, you know, a resident can be asked to show for it. So it says, in addition, any resident using the ecology facility may be required to sign a certification as any matters related to the use of the ecology facility. It also says in there that they may have to show identity. There's been concerns about the sticker, you know, being adhesed to the vehicle, then someone gets rid of it and then having to come get a new sticker, which personally I don't think is a big deal, you know, that the stickers are not very much money.
Well, I think there's a fee if you need a new sticker. That's
There is,
the
but I think you get 2, right, up front, or 2 without having to pay or whatever it was. I don't remember it verbatim. And then, you know, if you don't put it to the car, there's the sharing of it. So what's unmistakable is, you know, someone having to provide a driver's license. There has been some times where maybe a council person has seen what they believe to be a DPW worker not checking something. But currently, right now, it's a business card. It's not a sticker.
Well,
It's
that just
something-
changed, so that literally just.
So, yes.
Well, I have a sticker on a piece of PVC, like a piece of plexiglass, because I didn't have it mounted in the car because, you know, we got.
Right, so, I mean,
So-
essentially, you could
But it's a
share that,
sticker.
not that you're off.
Absolutely, but I
So-
think the main concern is if, like, you know, I go up there, everybody knows who I am because
Right.
of my.
They're not
But,
gonna check
like,
your ID.
If some, like, we don't want to get like into the old, you know, former mayor is sitting up there for 6 hours on Saturday watching everybody and asking for ID if she didn't know you. But I don't think we need to that extreme, but I think it's just a matter of just, if we see somebody we don't know, we should say, hey, you know, I need to see the ID,
Council
right?
President?
Yes.
Just if I may. Last week while we were there, the green team handing out the seedlings, I watched a caravan of pickup trucks come through. Only one was challenged for a sticker. And you're supposed to have a red sticker for a pickup truck, he had a green one.
Oh, there you go. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, so
It was
there's a different
pickup-
sticker for.
Pickup truck from Pennsylvania, dumping construction debris. And then 1, 2, 3 times, the same 2 pickup trucks came back
Fully loaded.
dumping construction debris. Now, we're talking about paying a huge fee for dumping. We should not be collecting people's construction material. There was a gentleman cracked up the sidewalk and he's throwing all the used concrete bricks into the truck.
Yeah, that's gonna damage the truck. That's.
You know, and then when I challenged him, he said, oh, he lives in town. That's what the person told me.
Well, I could understand like a garbage
I
can
don't
full
mind.
of, I could understand a garbage can full of construction debris, but if you have an entire pickup truck that's.
3 times,
dumpster,
same pickup
that's
truck
a
showed
different,
up.
that's a different animal.
I mean, we're paying a heavy fee for dumping.
So do you mind repeating what you just said? Seriously, I didn't hear the first, you can see what?
I could see somebody coming in with a little garbage, like a regular garbage can full of a little construction debris, because, stuff happens, but when you're filling up an entire pickup truck,
This
which
was
Mr. Sears said, that's a different animal, right? A couple pieces
So,
here or there.
I agree with
is
you,
one
but
thing.
the problem with that is we'll have 9 different interpretations of what's a small garbage can, what's a large garbage can. That's why, if you're,
You correct the interpretation here in the ordinance.
that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
If we
I
want to.
don't think we want to lock up the yard that nothing's allowed to be
No,
dumped
it's
there.
a
You know what I mean?
service.
But if you show up with a pickup truck full of debris that fits a bagster, then that's a different animal. But like if it's a
Yeah.
garbage can full or something,
How do you,
That's
you
totally
guys
up to
drive
you
a
guys.
Pennsylvania
And
truck?
girls.
yeah, I can't answer that. Yeah.
No.
Well, and.
Well,
that's
I
what we
guess it's
just
a
wanted to bring
discussion we need to have. We need to
Yeah.
maybe have some discussions on this. Everybody should review what Mr. DeCarlo has provided us
Right.
and see what recommendations you'd like to make to it, because,
Good.
right?
We
Is
can
that
have-
okay,
we
Mr.
can add
DeCarlo?
to the agenda.
Yeah, we can add it to the next agenda.
Is that
And
enough time? Or-
I'd give us a little bit more time to review it.
Okay.
Maybe the following, let's put it on the agenda for review. All right, so everybody's got the ordinance for Mr. DeCarlo.
Yes, sir.
Let's see how we want to revise it or make changes to it, and we'll take it, we'll have a meeting on it.
Have we received feedback from the DPW staff regarding their ability to challenge residents, or is there a concern there? Because my thing, or what I would observe is that, there's a hesitancy for someone on the DMF or DPW staff to challenge a resident. Maybe they're not known, maybe they don't, they're public, they're in the public, but they may not be well-versed in how to approach someone, and I could understand that. So
I think that's a terrific point, and it's definitely something to consider. That's why I think we should hammer home in an ordinance what you can and can't do, because
Because then they'd have backup.
they have an ordinance to back up. They have a foundation to stand on.
Yeah, because then we can make a sign up for the ordinance and
Exactly.
post it somewhere.
And the way to do it, just like you go and get your car inspected, show your proof of registration license. You just have to show your license.
Yeah.
Right? It's
I
that's
really don't
posted.
think that's a big deal.
Then they really don't have to ask. They know if you don't present the license, no dump out.
Except I did bring one thing up to administration, that I was doing marriage licenses and people come in with their driver's licenses. They could move, change their names. They don't get the stickers anymore. So they could be a resident here and they don't have their license until they renew it, which could be 5 years down the road.
Or
So that's the only
utility
drawback I
bill.
Yeah, we
see.
spoke about
They
a
can come with a
utility bill.
we can make a
also,
utility
something
bill or
like
Bring
that.
your whole.
Yeah, you'd have to come in with a
File
utility
box.
bill with your matching driver's license.
With your name.
Your name on it, yeah.
And once that's established, they know who these people are. They come in.
Yeah.
But it's the unknown group
Yeah,
that seems to be coming here every Saturday and dumping pickup trucks full of construction material.
Crazy.
And the residents are paying that rate.
hey, I actually took something out of the truck and brought it home, so.
So that-
Was it
That's
Nancy?
scary.
It was a,
Was it yours?
no, it wasn't mine, no. It was something, I saw it and it hit home and it was a planning table. Okay, so we'll Mr. DeCarlo, we'll review that. Project tracker, Mr. DeCarlo.
Yes, we hit a bunch of these. The difference card I updated you on.
Yep.
The GSP intersection, Washington Avenue, we're waiting for a scheduled follow-up.
Do we have a date? Do we have any time frame for
No, we
that?
don't. We're waiting for Stantec Engineering to get us all together again. I spoke to them probably about a week and a half ago now, and, it's a matter of waiting for the email. The intersection, the bus shelter, we're really no movement on that. Memorial Field, we completed. I told you tonight we found a less expensive contractor for the mulch, and that should be done within a day or two. MS4 stormwater mapping is done. It's up on our website. Northgate HOA, they're still plugging away. They're hoping to have that stormwater work done by the end of May. Stormwater pollution plan, SP3, has been completed and provided to DEP and is up on our website. That's another big accomplishment. Swim club recreation plans, the mayor's waiting for follow-up. I'll let him discuss that because it's on the agenda. The county paving of Washington Avenue and Pascack for Hohokus. Unfortunately, there's no update. I did try and get a hold of the county road superintendent today, and it was unsuccessful. 23 road program, I gave you an update as well. Clark and Sunset, we just had one or two resident complaints from leftover from last year that we have to make sure got done. One is just the replacement of a catch basin on Cypress, and there was something just left open-ended on Beach Street, nothing too big. The commuter lot we talked about, DPW facility we talked about. We're still waiting for the second vehicle that we purchased last year through capital for DPW. Gardner Field, the same thing, it's done. Thank you for approving. Resident did notice that you approved it, and I heard from her today. She was very much appreciative that we're going to have some more funds available to replace the remaining equipment that had rust spots and was just deteriorating down at Gardner. Thank you. And Town Hall elevator, it's really in limbo only because they told us once we sign the contract and get everything going, 14 to 16 weeks, just to wait for the parts and stuff like that. And then DOT grant on Calvin, we spoke about the Musquapsig Brook. I don't know, I'm the only one that doesn't live in town. I'm the only one that can say it, Musquapsig Brook. But there has not been any more obstructions that were taken from the book in any of the 8 sections. We're waiting really for the formalities to get that going. And then we're going to clear up a lot of stuff in section 7 and section 4 by fixing that critical sanitary issue. And I really think that brings you up to date.
2024 salary ordinance?
Yes, really just wanted your opinion real quick. I didn't want to linger too long, so I didn't have it prepared for you. I don't want to make any mistakes with the numbers, but I did want to ask the council if you are okay with the following. And you probably don't have it in front of you. But under Department Administration, that first box, it had floating staff, tax office, and it had $18 per hour. The council approved a budget line account to allow for $21 an hour, but in the ordinance, I wanted to do a range of 18 to 21, so if someone leaves, we may not bring in that person at 21, so I wanted to just alert you to that. Hopefully you didn't have a problem with that. Same thing for floating staff and the payroll, you approved $21 an hour. However, we'd like to do a range for that of 18 to 21. I did just want a little bit of guidance on the mayor and council section. I know you funded the line for the total amount needed, but you guys and girls did have discussion on individual salaries, so I didn't know if you wanted me to do a range, if you wanted me to do individual
I would
salaries.
just do a range,
Okay, so a range from that,
$49.90.
like, what was it, the 49.99? Up into the number including 2%. Well, how will I know who's gonna be what eventually? Someone will provide us with a letter.
Okay, we'll have everybody submit whether to take.
And I had to submit a letter
Okay.
to payroll,
Okay.
just
So
stating.
that'd be great. Okay, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
just
Just I would do a range and then you'll get a letter if anybody wants it changed.
Okay, and that's how we'll know how to pay people.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then the only other thing would be, just to alert you to, the Department of Public Safety, the crossing guards would be $18.71 to $20.50, just from $18.71 to $20. And then the only other range, there was another range. What was it, the other one to do? I think those are the biggest things. I feel like there was another range, but if you didn't have an objection to the.
If it's got to be a range, make it a range and just advise us what the one.
Okay,
All right?
all right, good. That was it. That's all I really needed to.
All right, under council, commuter lot parking fees, review of ordinance. Sue, I guess this is yours, right?
Well, it's a combination. You know, the parking lot is now paved. We do have phone calls coming in asking about when it will be back into use, so
Is it
I
ready to
know.
be used, Mr. DeFalo?
that's what I was gonna say, for the clerk's
It
office.
is,
Can the clerk
When
start
you're
issuing
ready.
permits?
they can, I don't see anything really in the ordinance that prohibits that, other than it really definitely needs the wording cleaned up. So if you're not opposed to us, you know, doing that, or me working with Mr. Fowler and providing that to the council, but it reflects the firehouse parking lot, you know, it's no longer that.
All right, so if you could bring it back to us the next time we meet and with the,
Do you
can you,
understand anything to-
I mean, the only other thing I would add is, since this year, it wasn't an option for people under 223-37, it says fee not proratable. Obviously, if
We
we
have
want
to
to prorate
prorate
this
this, yeah.
year, since it wasn't available.
so if we just do a 7-month,
June or July
Yeah.
1st to the end
I would
of the
say,
year.
well, right now it could be open, so we could technically do May 1st,
Well,
not May 1st, because that's,
When couldn't they use it though? Or do you want to clean up the ordinance first? What are you gonna do?
I defer to the council on that since it's
I
an
think we can
ordinance.
go May 1st. I mean, it's ready to be used, so if anybody, you know, will prorate
Do,
it
can we
for,
with the ordinance? Don't we have to change the ordinance?
no, 'cause I think it's arranged, the ordinance,
It's
isn't it?
already?
Well, it says a permit fee of $100 shall be due and payable on issuance of a permit.
So it's $10 a month. So if we do June, it'll be $50. I mean, it's $10 a month. I mean, no, less than
I was gonna say,
$10.
what calendar are you looking
No,
at?
it's eight change a month. Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll
We
just
can figure out what the
prorate
rate
it to whatever you divide 100 by 12 and that's.
Beginning May 1st?
All right, so clean it up so the wording is accurate and then allowed to be prorated.
Just for, but only for 2024.
Okay, all right,
So I would put that in there, so in case it gets left by accident,
yes.
that is prorated only for 2024, and then if it gets left, we can clean it up later. But if you don't put it in there, then somebody's gonna come next year and say, hey,
Thank you.
Thank you.
anything else on that? Ms. Velez, you had sample ordinance prohibiting sale of dogs and cats by retail pet stores.
Yes, thank you. So this gentleman, Larry Cohen, he has sent multiple emails. I don't know if the
Yeah,
rest
see
of
it,
the
yeah.
council has received it. So I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the council more formally. I was a dog foster parent for quite some time. And there
Doing that
were
well.
some situations and that I came across personally from some animals that did come from puppy mills, or dogs that came from puppy mills. So, you know, I wanted to at least bring this to the council. We currently do not have pet stores. We only have a groomer,
Correct.
which is much different. So this is not really a problem that we are facing. But if there was any interest in potentially,
Can we, we just got this the other day, so if we can maybe. put
yeah,
it on the agenda,
absolutely,
so we
absolutely.
Review it a little bit more. I didn't get a chance to fully
Sure.
understand it, so.
You know, just to provide a little bit of context, pet stores typically get their animals from puppy mills out west. And there's a lot of inbreeding, there's a lot of mistreatment, and therefore the animals tend to be unhealthy. So while we don't, you know, my intention by no means is to stop reputable licensed breeders, because people should have the right to buy the pet that suits their family. This is more just to help those animals that are being brought and sold under the wrong premise.
Okay.
So I just wanted to bring that and.
Yeah, can we just keep this
Yeah,
on there?
absolutely.
And then we'll, I just didn't get a chance to, it's a nice little, you got Westwood's ordinance in there too, so.
Yeah, and you know, we can modify it to what we would need. But again, we don't have a pet store or anything on our books.
Correct.
In regards to that. But yeah, if you don't mind taking a look, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer anything based on my experience as a foster.
Thank you.
That is all.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
Mike. This ordinance is Westwood's ordinance?
I'm sorry, I'm looking at another ordinance.
This
It's just
is,
a-
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a draft.
No,
Yeah,
that's
it's a draft.
Okay.
The following thing
This
is
is
Westwood,
just
the
a-
film ready
Westwood
ordinance.
is a new.
The film ready movie
Yes,
ordinance.
totally different.
Yeah,
This is
totally
just
separate.
a-
I'm sorry. It just caught my eye the way I flipped through the pages.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Is that what it said?
All right, financial, none, miscellaneous, Mr. Allman, remote working.
So I had this added. I guess I have a question on remote working for staff that is based in town hall.
Okay.
And, what are the rules around that? And is it something that we want to review and perhaps address?
Okay. So we're gonna
So
you want to discuss it at the next meeting again?
we could discuss it. I mean, we could discuss it at the next meeting.
Or you want to discuss it now? I mean,
Well, what is question?
what is
So
your,
the question is, we are public servants. We service the public, and in my opinion, we should be available in person. So not working remote, not being out of the office. We should be here in town hall to meet with constituents. That's my personal opinion. And, I personally would like to see that introduced or limit the amount of remote working that's available to staff.
so I guess, Peter and Mr. Mayor, Mr. DeCarlo, I guess years ago, when I first stint on council, we had gone to summer hours, right? And that's how this whole Friday afternoon off became, but it was only from Memorial Day to Labor Day, right? And now we've pretty much implemented that 52 weeks of the year. Is that a correct statement?
It is, because we got such positive feedback from the residents to have one night where they can come in year-round.
But there's only one department that's here one night a week. Not every department's here.
Who's that?
Building department's here.
Well, there's two departments. We have two departments, building department and the clerk's office. The other departments are not here at night during those days.
I just don't know offhand, to be honest with you.
Well, it started with the tax office, the clerk's office, and the building department. It didn't prove to be beneficial for
Right.
the tax office, so we went back to it. And when it's necessary during the grace periods, the two employees in that office stagger other times to do the best to cover the extra hours
Okay.
for the people. So.
But that's how this all, I'm just trying to give a little background. I remember we had introduced it as a Memorial Day to Labor Day thing as, for summer
Right.
hours.
Mhm.
So the other departments are also not forward facing to the residents outside of the clerk's office and the building department. So, no one from the public's coming to see the purchasing department or, so that's where that originated, why those offices were chosen to stay open till 7 at night on Mondays.
So, Mr. Ullman, you say you would like to see everybody here.
So I think there's two different topics that are being discussed. One is the use of, for lack of a better term, summer hours year-round. That's one. The second is if you have a job that is based in town hall, you should be in town hall. I mean, I go into my office, I'm asked to go into my office.
Oh, so you're saying physically attend here, not remote work. You're talking about remote working.
Yes.
Okay, all right, no, that's fine. Yeah, like you have to remote working, okay.
The summer hours, that certainly could be a discussion. Should they be limited to summer hours? It sounded like there was positive response from the public for those that are public facing, but then there are only two departments that are public facing, so, or three. So, that's.
So your concern is with remote working, that everybody should be at their desk or here for 35 hours a week in some fashion?
Yes.
I'd like to play devil's advocate on that. If the work is being done, there are no resident complaints, and the administration feels that the employees are doing exactly what they need to do, then for those that are not facing the public day in and day out, what's the reasoning?
So Do we have, if we have to wait for complaints to react, I don't know if that's, I think we should be proactive. I think if we have a responsibility or we have a role that answers somewhat to the public, that we should be available to the public in person. If someone walks in the door, they should be able to come up to an office and find someone sitting there and have a discussion with them
But if
about a
that's not
concern.
happening, if nobody is coming to those offices,
So no one comes into town hall?
no, I'm saying if nobody comes into those particular offices, like for example, they tried with the tax assessor in the evening, it proved to, not be worthwhile. So that assessment was made. So why can't we follow suit? If we see that there is no need and the people can work successfully and efficiently from home, for whatever reason, they may, I don't know, that's up to the administration, what they allow and don't, but what's the harm?
I think the harm is, I don't know if there's particular harm. I think it's a matter of perception, in that if you're in the office, you're working, and you are available to answer calls, not to answer calls, but to answer someone calling on you. If you're not in the office, that opportunity is not available to you.
Well, I will say from my experience when I did work from home, I've never worked harder than when I was at home in comparison to being in the office, into the building. That's been my experience. And again, if there haven't been complaints and it has been running smoothly, then I'm not saying let's not be proactive, but if there was a problem, and then I would be 100% behind you. But, if we can keep an office with the lights off and no AC and whatnot, then maybe there's a savings in there.
Well, sure, but then we have to remove everyone from the building.
I don't know.
So we
I'm
have
just
to
saying
force
there's-
everyone out of the building when we have remote days, because that's
Well, I
the only
don't
way
know
we're going to
who
save.
falls under remotes, but I'm just saying if they're not in the building, they're not using whatever components that they need to function. Again, my comment is more that if there's efficiency, there's no complaints, and they're getting the job done, then, if it were different, then I would completely support your statement.
Understood.
Mike, may I make a comment?
Hold on. Mr. Sears.
No, go ahead. Keep going. Or Mr. Caesar.
No.
I thought you were going to say something. Go ahead.
Keep going on.
Okay. Yeah, and, with all due respect, this is an area that falls under administration. Happy to listen to whatever council input wants, and can you please correct me if I'm wrong? The administration controls working hours and people's working remote. It is handled on a case-by-case basis. Some people do find it better to work remote because if the phone is constantly ringing or they do have people coming in, they do need some quiet time to get their work done. And so, it is, but also in today's climate, I think we can use it as a tool to hire people and retain people, to say, hey, a certain amount of your job can be done remotely, and use that as, a tool to, like I said, hire people and retain them.
Anything else, Peter?
Not on that. Nope.
Yeah, just two quick observations. The first observation is, yes, working from home is nice, but if you have, not everything is electronically accessible to you. So there's hard documents that you can't get online, okay? So if someone needs something down in records or whatever, I'm just making it up, they're not here to get it, you can't get it. So you have to wait until they're in the office. Number two, to Daisy's point, yes, when we went remote teaching, it was just a different animal because no one's ever done it before. So yeah, we worked harder. Definitely not efficient. It was definitely not efficient. And when you show up at a workplace, you have other people watching you, whether you like it or not, making sure you do your work. And a lot of people, I would say most people that do work remote, yeah, it's kind of nice, but there's no one watching you, and there is a lot of downtime. So it's the truth of the matter, and that's just my observations. So I'm not
Anything else on-
supporting for or against, but that's just observations.
I mean, I've never worked harder in my life.
I
Working from home.
understand. I
And plan
understand.
books and everything, no.
I agree with you.
Police dispatching, Mr. Ullman?
Yeah, so this came up during the budget hearing, or budget discussions, excuse me, and there was, I guess, an observation made that the 911, or 911, excuse me, police or answering component is now remote or done, is outsourced. And a question arose, or I raised the question about the ability to look at all dispatching. The chief, Chief Calamari, was at our last budget hearing and gave a detailed explanation discussing the inbound 911 call, the coordination between that contact center and our local dispatching, and the outbound, for lack of a better term, distribution of resources.
Yes.
And how that process takes place. Acknowledging that, I also recall when a number of councils ago, the discussion was raised about outsourcing or going to a shared service for dispatching, that, there was no cost that was too high for our residents to feel safe, and that it was, it would result in decreased response rates, and, there were any number of cons to doing it, and it was not moved forward. And since that time, and this goes back to Mayor Sopowitz and Joe Durso and Fred Getz, council people, since that time, we have outsourced it, or a component of it, and we put a price tag on it because we said it's going to cost X number of dollars to upgrade and maintain. And, so we made a decision not to do that, and maybe there's more
Well,
efficiency.
prior councils made, not, we haven't made that.
The town made a decision,
Correct.
collectively. I'm not going to attribute it to one person.
No, I just want to make sure clear that we didn't do it.
So my only thing is that now that we're finished with the budget, is this something we want to explore in greater detail? Because if we wait till we get the budget book next February, it's too
Too
late.
late.
So is that something that this council would like to explore? Not to say that it's going to happen, but just to understand what that might look like if we outsourced or shared a service for end-to-end dispatching.
Well, let me speak to that, Mr. Ullman. When I was first on the council, I held a special meeting regarding outsourcing dispatching to the county. And the pitchforks were definitely out. I packed this room with a lot of police, right, John? And a lot of residents, and there was a lot of pushback against it at the time. There was also a number of members that were for it as well, because there was a savings. And we also explored going with Westwood. Now, obviously, technology has changed, budgets have changed, so I'd be more than happy to revisit it. But what we have now is, I think it's pretty effective, I can say, but I would never, not want to revisit it at all if there's a savings, a true savings to the taxpayer, and it's in the residents' best interest, safety-wise. So I have no problem revisiting it. It is a hot topic for numerous reasons, but I don't think why. It's like anything else. We can always revisit any issue that we have. It's our job to do that, to research whether it's doing something with the, puppy sales and retail, or roads, or whatever it may be. I'm more than happy to look into it. And I think maybe as a council, we should all look into it again. And that's just my comment.
All right. 450 Pascack Road purchase, Mr. Almond.
Yeah, so, there was a agreement for the purchase price that was announced last November, and we've had updates in closed session about it, and I guess I would just like to understand, are we any closer to closing the deal? Is this something that we need to go into closed session to discuss? But, we announced proudly that we, one, had an agreement on the sale price, we have grant funding, but we don't have a piece of property. So are we any closer to that at this point in time?
Okay, so I will give you an update, up to the point where I think you might want to go into closed session if you need to go further, but let me just tell you where we are. So, the contract took a long time to negotiate. The seller, there were a lot of people involved, and I've explained those to you in detail in closed session. We had
But Mr. Pollard, just to make it clear to the public, we do not own the property as of.
No, you don't have a you do
I know, but
contract.
November 1st, it was announced that you had negotiated the deal and we were going to close on it. And we're at April 30th and we still don't own the property. So I just want to make that point.
Well, when you say you negotiated the deal is negotiated in terms of buying the property and how much it's going to be. As far as the closing of a title and closing of a deal, as you well know, there's a contract, there's due diligence that needs to be done, there's title searches, there are things to be done. So when you say announcing that we have a deal, it was a deal in terms of the purchase price, the main parts of the acquisition, which was the purchase price, the grant, but then it takes a contract to get the deal moving along to the point of due diligence. And I will just tell you that it has not been an easy or a quick turnaround, and there are many reasons for it, which I gave to you in closed session. I don't think I should be going into.
No. Just what is the date of the closing?
Well, wait a second. Date of closing.
That's really what we want to know.
All right, you don't have a signed contract yet. You still do not have a signed contract yet, and I will tell you this. Late last week, I was contacted by a new lawyer who is now representing the seller. And he said that he's taking over because the other lawyer had a bit of a conflict in terms of the contract purchaser that was there before us. So he basically said he was going to send some comments about the contract that he would want us to consider. He sent a draft to me with some changes. They were not the substantive kind of changes. They were legal nuances. Pardon me. I can't.
Mr. Pollard, would it, so.
Let me finish.
I was just going to say, would it be better to wait for a closed session maybe next week when your voice recovers and
all right,
you can prepare, at this point? So there's nothing you could say publicly that we're closing tomorrow. So
correct. That's correct.
That's all I wanted to get. We can put
get
this
an
on for
update?
closed session. Is there any, we go to the closed session next meeting about 450 Pascack and see if we can put this to the rest? All right, Mr.
Thank you.
Last thing, swim club repurpose analysis.
So I think Mr. DiCarlo had it on the tracker that there was an update last week or earlier this week. I guess my only question again is, we made a purchase which kept it undeveloped, and we accepted some grant money, but there's been a lot of, in my impression, there's been a lot of work done by Boswell to assess the property. There's a subcommittee or committee,
The Rec Advisory Board.
that are giving input, but at this point, we really haven't seen much actionable externally. Maybe internally there is. And I just wanted to know, when do we plan to understand? Because grant money is great. Hopefully we can get a bunch more, but at some point we're going to have to put a bill somewhere, I'm assuming.
Correct. So yeah, what as the administrator said, we did get new drawings from Boswell either Friday or as recent as yesterday. So I am calling a meeting of the Rec Advisory Board. What I had told the previous council
Can we
is,
share that with the council before we share it with the Rec Advisory Board?
well, as I was just going to say, as with the previous council that was in place, they were okay with the Rec Advisory Board doing the preliminaries and then bringing a couple suggestions to the council, because the record, like the council, the Rec Advisory Board, knowing that these projects are coming down the line, I purposely put on there a mix of people, a couple seniors, some parents, different representation through town to get everyone's opinion. And so let me say, I'm happy with what Boswell has proposed. I'm hoping that the Rec Advisory Board will also. And so I think this will move along quickly at this point.
So not to put the screws to you, but
That's okay.
so if you're going to socialize it with the Rec Advisory Board, when do you think you'll be in a position to socialize it with the council?
I would say first council meeting, whenever that is in June.
So basically a month.
30 days, yeah.
Okay. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen? Motion to adjourn?
So,
All second?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Thank you, everyone.